Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum heutigen Stream. Ich habe mir gedacht, ich fange heute mal ein neues Projekt an. Irgendwie stimmt meine Kamera gerade nicht, oder? Oh, Kamera verschieben. So, ja, heute geht's los mit mit einer neuen App. Ich dachte mir, wir überlegen uns heute erstmal so die Grundstruktur der App und schauen mal, wie weit wir kommen. Ich wechsle gleich mal auf meinen Screen. Was ich schon gemacht habe, ist, ich habe ein GitHub-Repo angelegt, habe als Template-Repo quasi meine Twist-Templates benutzt, um halt so die Grundstruktur zu haben. In Linear habe ich mir jetzt auch schon die ersten Tasks angelegt und ich würde sagen, wir fangen heute Projekt-Setup. Wie gesagt, GitHub-Repo habe ich schon. Hi Moritz. Ja, neue YouTube-Video, so neu ist es nicht. Es ist quasi von der App von so Oktober war es aufgenommen. Aber ich werde jetzt versuchen, die Streams, die jetzt laufen, relativ zügig auf YouTube hochzupacken, damit wir hier so eine kleine Historie bekommen. Deswegen habe ich auch gesagt, heute Episode 1 für die neue App. Und GitHub-Repo ist schon angelegt, Xcode-Projekt ist angelegt, Linear-Projekt ist angelegt. Und jetzt wird es rangehen an die initiale Codestruktur. Ja, ich habe mir überlegt, eventuell können wir versuchen, diese App test-driven zu entwickeln. Mal gucken, wie gut ich damit zurechtkomme. Oder wie lange ich es durchhalte vielmehr. Genau. Schauen wir mal, wie weit wir heute kommen. Ja, diesmal von Anfang an dabei, genau. Also wie gesagt, so ein paar Grund-Setup-Sachen habe ich schon gemacht. Habe das Repo ausgecheckt, habe quasi das initiale Twist-Template ausgeführt, damit ich halt hier Xcode-Projekt und Workspace generiert bekomme. Wir können mal kurz reingucken. Okay, hört ihr meinen Kater im Hintergrund? Wenn ja, muss ich kurz gehen und gucken, warum der so schreit. So, also Projekt. Ist im Prinzip ein ganz einfaches Twist-Projekt. Habe hier so die Standardsachen. Meine Templates habe ich benutzt. Dann kann ich euch auch gleich mal in den Chat rein posten. Ich muss gerade mal kurz gucken. Ich ziehe das mal ganz kurz rüber. Ich suche euch mal schnell die URL von den Templates raus, falls es euch interessiert und wenn ihr mal euch Twist anschauen wollt. Dann hier quasi. Warum kann ich das hier nicht reinpasten? Liebes. Warum geht das nicht? Warum lässt er mich hier nichts kopieren? Ist auch toll. OBS. Warum? Warum machst du mir das Leben schwer? So, neuer Versuch. Kopieren. Geht nicht. Probieren wir es mal anders. Gehen wir hierher. Pasten das hier. Dann machen wir das so. Okay. Also ihr habt jetzt den Link zu meinen Twist-Templates. Die sind aber auch noch im Entstehen. Also, aber mit dem habe ich jetzt quasi das Projekt erzeugt. Jetzt gucken wir mal, wie wir quasi den Code aufteilen wollen. Ich habe mir überlegt, dass ich die einzelnen Sachen strikt nach Modulen trennen werde. Oder zumindest mal versuchen. Wenn ihr da aber Vorschläge habt, wie man es auftrennen könnte, etc., gerne her damit. Okay, aber initial haben wir halt quasi ein App-Target, ein Test-Target für die App und das gewohnte Screenshot-Target, um später mit Fastlane dann Screenshots anfertigen zu können. Das kommt aber erst ganz zum Schluss zum Einsatz. Hier unten habe ich so ein File-Header-Template, wo ich einfach, wenn ich eine neue Datei erstelle, immer den Header austausche. Ja, das ist eigentlich schon die ganze Magic hier. In der Config ist noch nicht wirklich was definiert. Ich habe halt ein iPhone-Cache definiert. Configuration ist Debug und ich hätte das gerne für ein iPhone 11 Pro. Dependencies habe ich noch keine. Und da werde ich wahrscheinlich auch sehr sparsam mitgehen, beziehungsweise nur meinen eigenen Dependencies reinziehen oder weitestgehend nur meine eigenen Dependencies. Genau. Das wäre das. Das heißt, wir können ja jetzt mal einfach uns das Projekt generieren lassen und mal reingucken. Das ist das hier. Und das ist quasi jetzt so das Projekt, wie es Twisted für uns anlegt. Wir haben quasi die App und die initiale Content View. Führen wir das mal aus, um zu gucken, dass das geht. Wir quasi einen sauberen Anfangsstand haben. Ja, Simulator dauert immer ein bisschen, bis der startet. So, dann gucken wir mal. Genau, also heute will ich Setup-Struktur machen und dann schauen wir mal weiter. So, also sehr unspektakulär, einfach Hello, App-Name, fertig, mehr geht noch nicht. So, was wir jetzt gucken können ist, wir legen uns jetzt hier mal Ordner an, wie wir das strukturieren wollen und dann werden wir wahrscheinlich die verschiedenen Ordner, wenn es Sinn macht, in eigene Packages rausziehen. Und ja, wie gesagt, für Vorschläge bin ich da offen. Was wir machen könnten, ist quasi einmal ein Bereich UI. Dann machen wir einen Bereich, nennen wir es mal Business Logic. Ach ja, ich glaube, ich habe noch gar nicht erklärt, was für eine App ich bauen will. Im Prinzip will ich eine relativ einfache App bauen, und zwar, wenn man Kartenspiele spielt, Würfelspiele oder irgendwelche Brettspiele, möchte man ja meistens mittracken, wie der Punktestand der einzelnen Spieler ist. Und ich hatte mir überlegt, vielleicht ist es ganz nett, das in der App zu haben. Hi Avas. Oh, now you are learning German, so yeah, maybe I switch to English now. It depends on the chat, and yeah. So let me know if I should switch to English or in German. So, but as I know, Avas is not a German speaker, so I switch to English. So yeah, the app I'm building now is a kind of scoreboard app for games when you play cards, dice or board games. So especially German is miserable, yeah. But we can learn together, so I switched back to German and you learn German. So yeah, so I would have a screen where I can create games, add players and track their score among the games. And yeah, so I prepared here in Obsidian some notes, and I know Avas is interested in Obsidian. And yeah, so let me check what I can show you here. So that's basically a description of the app. So it's in German, so sorry for that. And yeah, it's basically that what I explained now. I want to do a score app, and I thought about the MVP is about adding a game and adding players and adding points to each player, and maybe define a score to win. And later on I want to add a subscription model here, and the first idea was that I say, okay, the free version of the app can only create one game, and with subscription you can add more than one game, get statistics about past games and stuff like that. That's basically what is here in this node. And yeah, so back to Xcode. Yeah, okay, I want to divide the UI and the business logic, and probably put the business logic in a separate module, so I can test it in isolation. And my goal is that the business logic has nothing to do with the UI layer, so no import of UIKit or SwiftUI. Yeah, UIKit, because I want to do a SwiftUI app, so UIKit. Maybe in some views I need the old stuff, but yeah, normally I would do everything in SwiftUI. Yeah, you have Obsidian. Yeah, maybe I can later on in the future stream, I can go through Obsidian and explain how I use Obsidian. I like it very much. I use it for about no, it's April, for about 6 months now. And I can show you everything I have in here, because there's also personal stuff in. But I like the visualization of the nodes. So each point of this thing is a node, and you can have these connections between the nodes. But yeah, maybe I do a separate stream and talk about Obsidian, if you want to see that. Yeah, it's not that much. I think I have about 500 nodes right now. Yeah. So, back to the project structure. So UI, business logic. Yeah, I think for now that's enough. Then in the UI layer, you can say we separate by screen. And then I would basically have the dashboard. I don't have designs right now, so that probably will change in future. Okay. Yeah, then we can do an Obsidian stream in the near future. So maybe we can discuss when you have time to watch it, or watch it on YouTube when I upload the recording. So I have a dashboard screen. Then on the business logic side, I basically have my models. And maybe for today, we only create some models. So I have about 1 hour left today. So let's see. Maybe we can start with that we think about the models we want to have. So let's do a little bit of drawing. So basically I have a game. Then I will have a player. And in the game, there we have players. Then in a game we will have score. So basically yeah, let's start with that. Then maybe a score to win. Maybe we need that later on. Hello, I want to So score, players, score to win. Then we have a player. I hate it that it opens in front of my drawing. So let's get a little bit more space. Yeah, the sliding panes doesn't work correctly when you slide in and out the stuff here. So game, score to win players. The player would have a name. Maybe a color or something. Yeah, let's start with that. And then we would have a score entry. But the question is, if we say we do something like that. Oh, JP Amis, thanks for the follow. So players and score is a score entry. Player is here. Then we have the score entry here up here. Maybe something like that for the start. Something like that. A list of played games. Yeah, basically, we could say we have is finished. So that we say we can have finished games. That's like kind of a history or an archive, but only for the premium version later on. So we would have something like that. But I'm not that happy with the game model, so maybe it would be better to add the players to a game, and then we store the score entries. Question is, do I score the score is part of the game, so the game should hold the score entries, but I have to know which entry is which player. So that could be a dictionary with the player name and the score, for example. Yeah, something like that. Or maybe we should start with creating a game, a player and a score entry, and then play around a little bit, or discuss what you think or what we could do. Or if someone has a better idea, then feel free to write it in the chat. Okay, let's create a game, player and score entry. So here we have our models. Swift file. Game. Then a player. Other question would be, later on we will store that stuff. The game has scores, which in turn has players. Game has scores, and the scores have a player or something. That's what you mean, right? You're basically searching the scores and grouping it by player name. That would be that every player name has to be unique. I don't know if that's a good idea. But yeah, let's check it here. Okay. We do a very basic model. So we say struct player. Let's play around a little bit. So here we have, let's start with a let name. That's a string. But the time zone. String. Then we have the struct game. So in here we have, I would say we have players, which is an array of player. And we have to track the score for each player. I'm trying to think about the database structure later on, so if we need every entry separately from the game, or if we could say it's part of the game. So we say we have something like scores, and that's maybe a dictionary with string and int. Oh, hey, nice stream. Random question. What do you think about Objective-C? It's still one of my favorite languages, but probably because I never actually tried to learn Swift. Do you have an opinion about the two? Thanks. Yeah, basically Objective-C is the old stuff. So I haven't used Objective-C by myself for about, oh, let me think, maybe 4 years, where I haven't touched Objective-C code. So all my stuff is in Swift, and now I try when I can decide it that I use Swift UI. And yeah, so when you know Objective-C, yeah, that's definitely good. But for future, you should also learn Swift, I think, because all the new stuff will be in Swift. At least the customer stuff. Maybe some framework, old frameworks, or can be on the Objective-C level. But also Apple is now doing everything in Swift. Yeah, Ava's. Same here. I didn't use Objective-C for about 4 years, and even then those were fixes for some old libraries. Yeah, exactly. For me it's the same. And to be honest, when I see Objective-C code, I have hard times to remember all the stuff. Because it's, yeah, I'm completely into Swift. Yeah, more it's the same. Yeah, I think it's basically you will get the same answer from all iOS devs or Apple devs, I would say. I hope this answers your question. Okay, back to the thing. Oh, I see we don't started the Pomodoro timer. Let's do that. Yeah, it's definitely production ready. So if you can choose, do Swift. Okay, struct game players, we have scores, and we could say the key is the player name or the player itself. Something like that. Yeah, then the player has to conform to hashable if we want to do that. But maybe we start with that one. So we need to do player extension, player hashable. So what do we need to do? Conform the hashable thing. Nothing. Cool. Because string is hashable. So the player, when we do it like that, we have to check if the player already exists later on. Oh, blocks, right. What do we mean? So what I see now in my setup, I don't have targets here. Maybe I have a little issue in my template. Before we go on here, let's check why I don't see my tests here. Because, as I said, we try to do this one test-driven. Might be better to have some kind of ID. Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm thinking about, because the question is, I want to have unique players in the app. So we have to think, okay, that Objective-C blocks, yeah. So maybe it would be a good idea if to have some kind of ID, a UUID, something like that. So, but first let's check why we don't see our tests here. Maybe it's all because I focused on the app. Let's generate without the app name. Yeah, that's it. And now we have our tests here. Because Twist, okay, just for explanation, I use Twist for project generation, so I don't have to check in the Xcode project and Xcode workspace. I'm the only developer of this app, so that is some kind of, yeah, it's a little bit too much for this kind, but I like to structure every app and every project I do the same way. So in the daily job, we also use Twist. So that's why I said, okay, with new projects, I directly use it, because yeah, you don't know when we get more developers on the project, maybe in the future, then yeah, everybody has its same workspace and infrastructure. So it's like Xcode Gen, if you know that. And yeah, and the thing is, when I say generate with and target name, then the project is generated that way that everything which could be cached is cached, and you only can edit the target stuff. And when I say, okay, I want a general generate, then I get the whole project generated without focusing on a special target. The focus stuff, when I say Scorar, so the target name, later on in future streams we will see what's the magic with that, or why we use it like that. So now I have my tests, and normally I replicate here the same project folder structure. So let's do that. We have a test, and we have business logic. Then we have another group model, and in there we have our unit test case class, and we have game tests. Then we have player tests. So let's check if we can run that. So for testing, set a fail. Let's check if active scheme does not include the tests you are trying to run. Why? So we have the target, okay.
All right, let's bring that feedback.
Okay, the workspace only for Mac, then we can go to tests, we say iPhone. Let's check if it's running now. Objective-C blocks are exactly what I laughed about Objective-C. Why you guys hate on it? Apple still does plenty of system frameworks in Objective-C, XPC, daemons, etc. I will try to have. Yeah. If you want to stay with Objective-C, it's fine, it's your decision. It depends what you want to work on. So definitely when you, I don't know if you are a freelancer or working in a company, most companies would assume that you know Swift when you want to do development for iOS or Mac OS or something like that. We don't hate it, we just don't use it anymore. So testing. Maybe we should create directly our frameworks. Let's see. Why it's taking so long. Hello. Okay. At the clone. Okay, now it's come. Hi, Monsieur B. How are you today? Can we expect a stream tomorrow morning? Failed. Okay, it's working. So the tests are running. And now let's see. If we directly say, okay, we create our first tests, so we don't need that one. Bank. Yes, you can. Cool. So how's your app? How far away from releasing are you? So player scores, player dictionary. What else do we need for a game? Hey, Michael. Is your name pronounced Michael or differently? I hope it's Michael. So, sorry if I spell it wrong. Not so far. In-app purchases are in place. Widgets are there. Some bugs to fix. Oh, nice. So, player scores. That's it for now. And then we probably wouldn't need the score entry stuff. Yeah, maybe we have to iterate sometimes over the models again and again. Let's see. Ah, from Poland, so it's more Mikal, right? Wait, score to win. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely hard to... yeah, I have to... how it's called? Train a little bit more to focus on the chat and what I want to implement. My brain doesn't work like that at the moment, so I'm not that multitasking. Oh, I pronounced that wrong all the way. Now we have clarified it, so... And no, I don't want to ignore you. Know that you made it to the stream, so all is good. But that's why I do that stream, so to have some interaction with the chat, so implementation is, yeah, second part, or not that important. So what I, yeah, the score to win, correct. We call it score to win, we say it's an integer. So the question is, do we have every time a score to win in each game, or do we have games maybe where some kind of infinite stuff? Maybe we would start with an optional here, and think about later if we want optional or not. So extension. Let's do some functions on here. So what we would I like to do is add player. How do you think about that? Do you like the underscore here, or do you do it like that? What do you prefer? So I mostly I do it like that, but sometimes I would think that's better because don't duplicate the player or something like that. I've heard so many different pronunciations that anything that sounds similar to my name is fine. Okay. You might have an open game where the goal is not set, but after playing you will quit at a certain score. Yeah, but the question is then the player with the highest score wins. So I know games, especially card games, where you have to achieve or reach 500 points, for example. And the first player who reaches or gets above this score wins. So that's why I think we start with optional, so we can define a score to win, but we don't have to. So now I think we create basic functions without implementation, just to think about what would we need in the model. Right, but when you start, you have not set a goal. Yeah. Okay. So, and because I do it with an empty implementation, just the functions, because I want to do it test driven. So maybe we start only with adding and removing players, because I don't know how long it takes to do the tests. So, hey Megan, welcome. Nice to see you here. So lately I couldn't watch your streams because it's during the night in my time. So sorry for that. Yeah. So we test add player. That should be one test. And I would say I like it to say the result, so I want to have a success. Then what else could be wrong? Add player twice. We should think about what would we do if we add the player twice, or if that should be possible. Then what else can we test for adding a player? I blame Bluetooth connection for that. Yeah. So yeah, you just gotta wake up. I think you are about 8 hours behind me. So your time is now around 10:45. So let's start with the first one. So we have our soot, and this is a game. Oh, we should import. So now we create our basic game without any parameters, and then we expect assert equal that the soot dot players or count or players not equal, we can say true. Assert true that is empty. Same thing with scores. Then we create a player. because I don't want to provide the UUID on creation because it's a new one. We would adjust the player maybe that we say the default is give me a new one. So this way I don't have to provide it. So player, and then we say we add this player, add player, and then we expect that sort.players is empty, and we expect that the first one is our player. So let's run that. That should fail because we don't have an implementation for the functionality. So what do we have? Fatal error, unexpected found null, right? No force unwrapping here. So I better do something like guard added player is so.players.first, else we say exit fail should contain a player. So maybe we do it a little bit more space. So now we have the added player, should be the player. Let's try it again. Bye Avas, see you. Okay, now we see, we say, okay, we expect it's empty, scores is empty, it's true. We create a player, we add a player, and then we say, we expect that it's not empty. It fails. Of course it fails because we don't do anything in the method. So let's try to get this test screen. So what get it green, we do it the easiest step to do it. So we say players dot append player. Let's run it again. So because we have a struct here, we have to say players append, add instruction. Oh, perfect. Build succeeded. So it's not empty anymore, and the added player is the player. Cool. So let's check. Let's do the same, but add the player twice. So we could say we do a little bit of adjustment. So we say sut. We have a game. and we say in the setup method, load is game. We don't need to do it here. And let's copy that. Okay, we create a player, we add a player, then we do a little some stuff differently. So we say assert equal super players dot count should be 1 then. Then we say add the same player again. So what do we expect? Because we don't want to have duplicates in there, right? So we say put players count should stay by 1. So let's run the test. And it fails because we add the player we insert every time. We don't check if it's already in there. What we also can say, okay, now we use an array. We could say we use a set here to remove the duplicates. So let's try that. So we say we have a set of player. Run the test again. Insert then, right? Yeah. Player. So let's run the test. Okay, this test is green. Let's see if the other test also succeeds. So let's run both tests. And we see that's not the same. Bad access. So let's check why we have a bad access here now. There is here. Okay, it's not the same player, but why is it a bad access? Because we create every time a new UUID, the player is created. And the problem here is we have a struct. Or it's not a problem, but we have a struct. So every time we inject it into a method as parameter or something like that, we get a copy. And a copy gets a new UUID with this implementation. So maybe we shouldn't do the thing here. Or we should think about how we create the ID for the player. So now I have to adjust a little bit the tests. So now I have to provide an ID. Let's check it again. Also, add it down there. Let's build it. Run it. Test succeeded. Okay, now it's correct. So that's also the tricky part with the copy stuff from structs. So you have to keep in mind, if you do something in the constructor and assign stuff automatically, basically, then you run into errors like that. So now we have our first two tests, and let me check. I don't know, are you familiar with testing in Xcode, or do you have any questions about that? Then feel free to ask. So let's check our code coverage, because we want to, code coverage is added, so let's check the scheme. Get the code coverage, good. So let's run the tests again and have a look at the coverage. Why is it here? Okay, the other tests, maybe we should delete them. Let's empty that out for now. This one is the standard one. Don't need. So let's remove the file. So, and now run all tests and check again. Okay, no errors here. Yeah, it's the old value here. Okay, fine. Because we don't have an assert here. And why don't we have a coverage here? Okay, I have to check why we don't get the coverage here. Normally we should get it. Ah, okay, here we have it. But that's the test. I don't want to have the coverage from the test. I want the coverage of the model. So I want to see the coverage stuff on the game. Yeah, here we have. Okay. When we run a test, we can see if we tested all parts of our object. So we can say, I'm still confused why you used the guard let statement in the test to check the first player in the set. Yeah, it's old one. I need bigger windows. So that one here. You would do it like that, right? Yeah, we can do it. So now it's a little bit cleaner. And yeah, so coverage. Yeah, you can see here the small numbers, and when you hover it, you see the green mark, and there you can see, okay, this code part was reached one time during the tests, and this part here not, because we don't have a test which removes a player. So that would be the next thing. So we can say write another test. We say we have a test where we remove a player, remove existing player. Then we have a test where we try to remove a non-existing player. And what else can we test for the remove? Any ideas? What else we should test right now? So let's check remove an existing player. For that we have to add a player. So let's get this thing. So we added a player. Let's check that that worked. And then we say we want to remove a player. And then we expect that the players should be empty. For a non-existing player, we basically do the same. Try to remove non-existing player. Test remove. Player. Should we do a separate half so wild? No, sorry. What? No, sorry. Idea for the test. Sorry. Yeah. So test remove player in empty set. From empty set. Should we test that? So that we test it when we haven't added a player. He has no clue. So yeah, why not? We can, maybe we test too much, or maybe when you think we do stupid test, then please write it in the chat. But I think every test would be good. So test remove player from empty set. So removing stuff from an empty set should be handled by Apple itself. So yeah, we can discuss if we need that kind of test. But yeah, let's do it. So basically then we do these two lines and we say we expect count is 0, or we say room is empty. We should have a player. Let's run it. It's green, yeah, of course. So test remove non-existing player. Basically, that's the same test, but with a player in the game object. So we say we add a player. Later on, we can refactor those tests here, because we have a lot of duplication in here. We can extract it into helper methods and stuff like that. But for today, because let me have a look at the clock. Okay. Maybe we finish those tests here and then we come to an end of today's stream. So remove non-existing player. So we have a player, then we add the player and say we want to check that it's in. And then we have a second player. And because he's just arrived in the stream right now, we have half so while here. And then remove non-existing player. We try to remove player 2. And we expect again that we still have one player count by 1. And we do the same. We check if it's the correct player we have. So let's run that. That should fail right now. Oh no, that shouldn't fail because yeah, it's okay. So yeah, remove we don't do. Let's go back to the game and let's implement the remove. So remove from empty set, remove non-existing player, remove existing player. Let's check if that shouldn't work right now. Yeah, correct. That doesn't work, which is correct because we have no implementation. We say player players remove player. So when we come back now, we run the tests. Again, the mutating. Let's copy that and run the test again. And now they are all green. Okay, I can't pronounce this using this name. So thank you for your follow. Maybe you can throw a message in the chat how you. Yeah, I don't pronounce it right now. Yeah, and I think that's it for today. So we added the first models game, not much code right now. We added the first tests for it. And the plan is to continue this way in future streams. So if you like that one, as much as yeah, I think I know what you mean. And yeah, that's the format of the next next stream series. It's working on that app this way, test-driven development, and hopefully we can get this app in the App Store not too far in the future. Maybe I work a little bit on the app off stream. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Because when I only work on stream, it could take longer to finish this one. So let's see.